today, but they will get cheaper, and that's what's going to unlock the intelligence, right?
So it'll get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. The big DeepSeek R1 release freaked everybody out because of the cheaper. One of the manifestations of that is Nvidia stock plummeted. Can you explain what happened? I mean, and also just explain this moment and whether, if Nvidia is going to keep winning.
We're both Nvidia bulls here, I would say. And in some ways, the market response is reasonable. Most of the market, like Nvidia's biggest customers in the US are major tech companies, and they're spending a ton on AI. And if a simple interpretation of DeepSeek is you can get really good models without spending as much on AI. So in that capacity, it's like, oh, maybe these big tech companies won't need to spend as much on AI and go down. The actual thing that happened is much more complex, where there's social factors, where there's the rising in the App Store, the social contagion that is happening, and then I think some of it is just like I don't trade, I don't know anything about financial markets, but it builds up over the weekend, where the social pressure, where it's like if it was during the week and there was multiple days of trading when this was really becoming, but it comes on the weekend and then everybody wants to sell, and that is a social contagion.
I think, and like there were a lot of false narratives, which is like, hey, these guys are spending billions on models, right? And they're not spending billions on models. No one spent more than $1 billion on a model that's released publicly, right? GPT-4 was a couple $100 million, and then they've reduced the cost with 4.0, 4 Turbo 4.0, right? But $1 billion model runs are coming, right? This concludes pre-training and post-training, right? And then the other number is like, hey, DeepSeek didn't include everything, right? They didn't include, a lot of the cost goes to research and all this sort of stuff. A lot of the cost goes to inference. A lot of the cost goes to post-training. None of these things were factored. It's research salaries, right? Like all these things are like counted in the billions of dollars that OpenAI is spending, but they weren't counted in the, hey, $6 million, $5 million that DeepSeek spent, right? So there's a bit of misunderstanding of what these numbers are. And then there's also an element of NVIDIA has just been a straight line up, right? And there's been so many different narratives that have been trying to push down NVIDIA. I don't say push down NVIDIA stock. Everyone is looking for a reason to sell or to be worried, right? It was Blackwell delays, right? Their GPU was, there's a lot of report. Every 2 weeks, there's a new report about their GPUs being delayed. There's the whole thing about scaling laws ending, right? It's so ironic, right?
It lasted a month.
It was just like literally just, hey, models aren't getting better, right? They're just not getting better. There's no reason to spend more. Pre-training scaling is dead. And then it's like 01, 03, right?
R1,
right? And now it's like, wait, models are they're progressing too fast. Slow down the progress. Stop spending on GPUs, right?
Yeah.
But the funniest thing I think that like comes out of this is Jevons paradox is true, right? AWS pricing for H100s